What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be working on the zx6r. I don't know what's going on with my camera, but I'm going to be going ahead and remove the gas tank, the air box and everything else, so that we can get to the valve cover and swap that gasket because it is leaking. Then I'm going to go ahead and come over here and I'm going to swap the, oh my god, I'm going to go ahead and swap the swing arm off and put it back to stock. So I'm gonna get started on that, and I might have to go in and get the GoPro, even though it's not the best quality. It is an older one. I do need to buy a new one, but in the meantime I do have a Grom. I went and bought a Grom so I can go ahead and just take this motor out, and I'm gonna throw it in this Grom and do a 300 swap. Stay tuned for that video. That's gonna be a whole little series on how I do that and what involves or entails of doing that. It'll probably be done within the next couple videos, so make sure to stay tuned. It's going to be a 300. You're going to need a special bracket kit that I do have, that I will plug in the description when I start it. You're also going to need a few other things, which I'll get into detail with that. I decided to go with the 2015, the OG version, which I heard it's a little bit easier and better to go with, due to swapping reasons. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on this bike here, and I'll get back to you guys once I get the tank off and everything else. Okay guys, so I went ahead and got the gas tank up, which is going to be 2 bolts here. They're going to be 10 millimeters. Then you can just kind of pull it up and put a bungee cord like I did. I do apologize for the camera. My GoPro is charging, and I will start using the GoPro instead of my phone. I dropped my phone and I cracked the back of the phone, so it's all weird and stuff. So I took the air box out. The air box is going to be 1 screw that goes here, also a 10 millimeter. And there's going to be some little gaskets under here. Not gaskets, but little holders underneath. You're just going to have to pop them up off of here. You just give a little snug. But be careful, because there's going to be plugs here. You're going to unplug it here, and then you're going to have to remove the rest of the plugs. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This piece that goes here, which sits in here like so. You just move that off, and you kind of unplug everything and throw it to the side here. So you're going to have your coil packs here. Make sure to label them. So I got 1 with a 1 there, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So that when you take them out, you know exactly where they go. Just in case, if some motorcycles tend to need them to be where they're at to run correctly. Some of them do, some of them don't. But I'm not going to take that chance. So I'm going to go ahead and start removing all of this stuff. But before I do that, my gasket's not going to be here for another week, so I might put this back in due to some delayed shipping due to weather. But I do got my fairings coming, so I'm in a debate of taking this off or leaving it on. But since I got it here, to take this off, you're going to just pop these out. 1, 2, 3, 4. You pop those out. You get an Allen key. You remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that should pop up. Take the gasket off. Everything else you need off. You pull the whole thing up, and you put the new one on, and repeat in the opposite way. When you put them on, put these two in first, then the outsides. Slowly tighten the middle and work your way out. So that way it spreads outwards. And then you slap this back over, plug everything back in, and you mount everything right back up. So you're going to have these 4 going to sit like that. This is going to come over, sit like this. These 2 plug in here. This plugs here. This plugs here. This one plugs here. Just like that. And then you're going to have this wire that hangs around here. This goes into the air box, which is right here at the top, next to where you unscrewed it from. So after you do that, you go ahead and you put this back on. You make sure it's seated right on all of these as well. Put the 10 millimeter bolt back in. Drop the gas tank back down slowly so you don't mess nothing up. And then you put these 2 10 millimeters back in up top here. And that essentially is how you do the valve cover gasket on a 2017 zx6r 636. This is the KTRC version, so I can mix through everything or whatever. But yeah, other than that, make sure to stay tuned for the next videos. I'm either gonna go ahead and just pop it off and wait to put the fairings on and get started on this and just have it all taken apart, or I should just put the fairings on and leave off the sides. I could start putting the white back here or something, and I could put the front clip on. But other than that, everything should be good to go. So like I was saying earlier about the Grom and the 300 swap, that will be getting done probably within the next 3 videos, and I will be posting every other day, or at least every other 2 days, and that will be around the time when these bikes come up getting swapped. So I do have a little thing that I got going on here for a 2003 Yamaha R1, which I'm fixing up for my buddy. He got a tank which is all busted up, so I'm kind of restoring it. I did the treatment in there with vinegar and water and a bunch of solutions to get some rust out, and it needs a fairing kit, it needs clutch lever, it needs brake lever, it needs a whole bunch of stuff in here. It needs all of this cleaned out. It needs to have some mechanics in a bottle run through it. This also is going to need the valve cover done because it is a little leaky, which is going to be probably some videos on this. I could make them. If you guys are interested in that, let me know down in the comments, and I will get a bunch of videos on this bike as well. So this is a very good little bike. I don't like these bikes necessarily myself, but he likes it. So I also need to do the front caliper on here because it's sticking, and swap the chain, and I already did the tires on it. He wants me to pull all the fairings off, put new ones on, and just a bunch of maintenance on the bike as well. He also wants me to cut and shorten these, which I will be doing. The headlights don't work on here, so I gotta swap the headlights. Well, not necessarily the headlights. I think there's a wiring issue where you jiggle the handlebar and they cut on and cut off. I also want to clean that motor up, but I don't know how far he's willing to go into this bike, but we'll see. So stay tuned. If you guys want to see that on the channel, let me know. And I gotta paint the bike. I gotta paint this black, which I have all the stuff to do it. So like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Okay guys, before I end the video, I went ahead and swapped the little reservoir for the brakes. This one was all old and it was kind of leaking, and I kept losing brakes on the front, so I went ahead and ordered a new one and replaced it. So that's done. It's pretty much, you got to get a hose, the 2 clamps. You remove the clamp from either or side. I removed it from here because I did swap the hose as well. And then you're going to get an Allen key, remove it from here. You're going to remove this whole reservoir. Then once you got the reservoir off, there's going to be this little bracket at the bottom here. Here's going to be a 10 millimeter, an 8 millimeter, and a bolt with a 8 millimeter nut at the back. You're going to take that bracket off. You're going to put it onto the new reservoir, and then you're going to go ahead and mount up the new hoses so that way it's connected, and then you're going to tie in the little bracket right here with the Allen key that you use, and that should be it. So like I said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.